Hey everyone, welcome back to Dev Radio, where we are constantly bringing you CSAs and other professionals around Microsoft who are doing some amazing things and interesting things in Azure. If you were with us live earlier this week, we started talking about the API Management Landing Zone Accelerator, and we promised that there would be multiple follow-ups to this with not only deeper conversations but technical demos. And so we're going to go ahead and start on that journey today. I'm going to welcome back, as always, Matt. Matt, how are you doing?
Doing good. Excited to learn more. I watched it from the other side last time. I wasn't on camera, but I was watching.
Well, now you're on camera, so all the pressure's on. Pete and Cynthia, welcome back. Glad to have you back on.
You
Thank
doing?
you.
And so, for the benefit of our audience, I'm just really going to jump right into it. So, we have the landing zone accelerator. We talked about it like from an introductory perspective at our last session. Pete, I know you wanted to give some comments about basically, who is this for? What type of problems does this seek to solve? And when you talk to your customers, work with your customers, what are the type of questions they have around API management? So, Pete, I really want to just kick this off to you. Start, and I know Cynthia, you're gonna jump in with some deeper explanations here and there. So, I'm gonna let you two have the show.
Yeah, absolutely. So typically, we get certain requests around API management. There's a lot of interest in what the product does. They want to implement it within their platform, within their environment. So we start to get involved. One of the first steps is sort of a walkthrough. API management is a really big product, does a lot of things, and there's a lot of different ways to configure it. So typically with customers, what I do is start with a walkthrough. Go through all of the, essentially it's the art of the possible. What can API management do? How can you configure it? How can you visualize your APIs? How can you import your APIs? So we'll go through some of the basic steps and say, if you have like an open API spec, you can import that. And then you can manage the policy that goes along with it. We go through some of the bigger pieces, and I know Cynthia is going to touch on this, but it's around networking. Right? And how do you want to make decisions around what gets exposed to the public? Because the API management by default will be exposed externally, and maybe you don't want all of your APIs exposed externally. You can use it to host APIs that are, pushed to only your internal users. And so at that point, you might want to consider blocking them off from the internet and using something like an app gateway or an Azure front door, putting that in front of the solution itself as you build it out. And those are really considerations you want to make up front to make sure that you're essentially set up for success. We go through the developer portal, different changes, give them a walkthrough of how you can actually edit it, how to publish it, and then start to get a good understanding around, just the different areas around caching. Here's what's possible from like get requests. It has a built-in cache, and maybe there's additional Redis cache available from there. Once we go through that demo, again, it's a lot of what you'll see in the enterprise scale accelerator is what does the architecture look like? Once we've gone through some of those initial questions, we start to pull in some of the design considerations. How are you going to manage your users from a developer portal? How are you going to set up your networking? How are you essentially going to do security and governance for those policies? Nice thing about API management is you have the infrastructure itself, which really is the API management resource, but then you can manage the policies external to API management. The developers themselves can help manage the policies. They can work on the life cycle of them. If they want to edit and add policies, you can have DevOps pipelines, which can actually push those policies into API management separate from the infrastructure. And so that's really the kickstart of the journey and how it actually goes from essentially start to finish. There's a lot more in between, getting it pushed out, multi-zone considerations, disaster recovery. You can do backups. You can do a lot of different pieces to it. And so we get into some of those details too.
So, Matt, do you mind pulling up the slide really quickly?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and share that out.
Awesome. Thank you. So really following on what Pete was saying, we break it down into 6 different critical design areas because we understand when customer is thinking about adopting almost like an API management platform, it feels very daunting of all the different areas that they need to think about. So the way we approached it is we break it down into 6 areas, as you can see here on the screen, going from identity and access management, networking, management and monitoring, business continuity and disaster recovery, security, governance, and compliance, and then rounding it out with application automation as well as DevOps. What our goal with this section of the landing zone accelerator is that this really is a tool that can be used by both greenfield as well as brownfield customers. for greenfield customers, of course, this is a great blueprint of going into how you want to architect your solution. And then for brownfield customers, we really hope for this to be as a assessment tool of going through each of the different design consideration and design recommendation to understand, is my current solution following some of these recommended practices that we put out? And if I haven't yet, what are some of the next steps that I need to follow in order to reach that golden state of being well architected?
So yeah, we have this great graphic out there. For those who are interested in the rest of the series, now that we've talked about the problems trying to solve the design areas and stuff like that, what can they look forward to learning about in the remaining sessions of this series? And that's a question either one of you.
So I think for our next one, we definitely want to focus on a reference implementation, which is a single region APIM implementation that we put together where there will be Terraform scripts, ARM templates, bicep templates that you can go ahead and deploy. And then the last one will be rounding out with a demo of how you could actually deploy it through your repo using a lot of the GitHub workflows and GitHub actions that we put together. And hopefully, again, that it will all work live.
Oh yeah, we're already conversing with the demo gods on this one. So, thank you both for being on again. This is all, Matt, I'm sure you agree. This is all really exciting content.
Oh yeah, looking forward to it. This will be good stuff. Can't wait to see the demos.
Yeah, so for everyone who's watching now or watching recording, 2 more sessions of demos. We have a playlist. If you missed the introduction, just jump back to the last video in our playlist. You can see the introduction. Watch it all the way through. Share it with your colleagues. If you're excited about our channel, make sure you click that subscribe button. Make sure you set up the notifications so you know when we go live. That's the general YouTube banter, but it works. And we just want to continue to grow this channel, continue to bring exciting content. And we want you to all be here in real time when we go through these demos so that you can make sure that we have excellent demos and access wonderful questions. So, Cynthia, Pete, again, thank you for jumping on.
Yeah, thank you.
And we will see you all next time.
Thanks so much.